you guys personally geek out about? Henry, let's start with you.
Specifically, which universe, or just?
I mean, just anything.
Oh my goodness, here we go.
How long have you got?
You've got so many and I've got none.
Yeah, I was like, how much time do we have?
Listen, I'll sit here all day listening.
Ruling out The Witcher.
Yeah, not The Witcher. Okay.
I mean, the easy answer is Warhammer 40,000. That is my jam. I have been into it since I was 10.
What's your army at the moment?
Custodes.
Yeah. I'm going Necrons next year.
Wait. Oh.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Were you into?
Yes.
Were you into this before, or is this a new thing?
Let's just assume that anything nerdy I've been doing for a good 33
Oh wow,
years.
we could talk for hours.
Yeah. No, so yeah, that's my jam, and that's the stuff I do in my free time.
That's amazing, amazing. I'd love to see your armies. Do you paint them yourself?
I do. Yes.
That's so cool. Yeah.
There are just some things you don't mess with, especially if they're working perfectly fine. Sure, the world is evolving. Feminism, diversity, and openness are all important, no doubt about that. But why tinker with the lore of an all-male Adeptus Custodes if that's exactly how it was originally written? Henry Cavill, the champion of authenticity, has once again made headlines.
Geekiest thing would have to be my Warhammer stuff.
We're talking
Hands down.
Games Workshop, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah. It's that took me a while to kind of confess to openly and publicly.
The Warhammer legend has reportedly walked away from Amazon's live-action adaptation, and, as expected, it sparked a wildfire of debates. Fans are calling this a blatant betrayal of the franchise's sacred foundation, and honestly, they might be onto something. At the center of this controversy, the introduction of female custodians. Yes, you heard that right. This move has left the Warhammer fanbase completely split down the middle. For some, it's a progressive and inclusive update. For others, it's an unnecessary rewriting of a carefully built universe. But what's really going on behind the scenes? And why does this whole situation feel uncomfortably similar to Henry's dramatic departure from The Witcher? Let's dive into why Henry Cavill's departure from Warhammer is hitting fans so hard. This isn't just about an actor stepping away from a project. It's about a man who's completely obsessed with the source material and has proven time and time again that he's willing to fight for it. Cavill isn't just another celebrity dabbling in Warhammer, he's a lifelong fan. Seriously, this guy spends his downtime painting miniatures. Insiders reveal that Amazon's proposed changes, like introducing female custodians, a move that completely rewrites the franchise's deeply established lore, felt like a slap in the face to everything Warhammer stands for. For Cavill and for fans, this feels like déjà vu. Remember The Witcher? Cavill spent 3 seasons clashing with Netflix creatives, relentlessly pushing for a version of Geralt that stayed true to Andrzej Sapkowski's novels. He didn't mince words in interviews, but balancing that vision with the showrunner's ideas? Yeah, in his own words, it was tricky. Eventually, the creative differences became too much, and Cavill walked away. When he announced his exit in October 2022, Cavill's Instagram post was nothing short of gracious. He passed the torch to Liam Hemsworth, writing, "My journey as Geralt of Rivia has been filled with both monsters and adventures. I pass the torch with reverence and enthusiasm." But let's not sugarcoat it. Behind the scenes, creative clashes and dissatisfaction with the show's direction reportedly played a massive role in his decision. Even his co-stars felt the impact. Anya Chalotra, who plays Yennefer, admitted that Cavill's departure was tough to process and that the cast would deeply miss him. Fans were devastated. The internet exploded with theories. Some speculated that Cavill's commitments to Superman were to blame, but Cavill himself shut that down, making it clear that juggling multiple projects wasn't the issue. The real problem? Creative control. Whether it was Sapkowski's novels or Warhammer lore, Cavill's dedication to honoring the original work consistently clashed with decisions made by showrunners and executives. And when Cavill believes in something, he doesn't back down. Sure, there were wild rumors about Cavill being difficult to work with, but let's be honest, anonymous celebrity gossip isn't exactly a reliable source. What is reliable? Cavill's track record. He's passionate, committed, and absolutely unwilling to compromise the integrity of the stories he loves. Now, fans are left wondering, how can Hollywood hope to keep someone like Henry Cavill, an actor who lives and breathes these franchises, when they're so quick to toss aside the original vision? Whether it's The Witcher or Warhammer, Cavill is sending a loud and clear message. If the story loses its soul, he's not afraid to walk away.
There's something I've been done.
Now, let's talk about Amazon's rumored motives behind this controversial shakeup. According to reports, the streaming giant has been aggressively pushing for modern inclusivity, specifically demanding the inclusion of female custodians, something that directly contradicts Warhammer's long-established lore. The uproar began when Games Workshop introduced Cade's Tower Valia Kez, a female Adeptus Custodes character in their Codex Adeptus Custodes. But what really set the fanbase ablaze was Warhammer's official social media team claiming that there have always been female custodians. Fans were quick to call this out as blatant gaslighting, pointing to decades of lore that clearly established the custodians as an exclusively male faction, created by the Emperor himself using his own genetic material. Leaked rumors from forums and YouTubers like Arch suggest this wasn't entirely Games Workshop's idea. Instead, it was reportedly a compromise with Amazon. Initially, Amazon wanted female Space Marines, but Games Workshop, fully aware of the catastrophic fallout that would follow, pushed back. The compromise? Female custodians, a middle ground to appease Amazon without completely obliterating their core fanbase. Even so, this compromise has not gone down well. Reports indicate that the introduction of female custodians was meant to test the waters for Amazon's larger inclusivity push, but it backfired spectacularly. Amazon's automated feedback systems, which track complaints for their intellectual properties, have reportedly flagged a significant increase in negative responses to the Warhammer project. Comparisons to disasters like Rings of Power and Wheel of Time are already flooding forums and social media. And what about Henry Cavill? Sources say he's furious about these changes. The Adeptus Custodes aren't just another faction to Cavill, they're his absolute favorite. This makes Amazon's decision feel especially tone-deaf, considering they brought Cavill on board specifically for his deep love of the lore and his credibility with fans. Yet, despite his frustrations, Cavill may be contractually tied to the project, making it difficult, or even impossible, for him to fully walk away. This entire situation feels like another classic example of Hollywood prioritizing virtue signaling and media buzz over authentic storytelling. Instead of respecting the world building that has kept Warhammer alive and thriving for decades, Amazon seems determined to inject modern agendas into a universe that fans adore precisely because of its gritty, uncompromising lore. But here's the real kicker. Amazon's push for these changes isn't just alienating fans. It's creating a PR nightmare for the very show they're trying to promote. With complaints piling up and fans feeling betrayed, it's clear that prioritizing inclusivity over storytelling isn't just a bad creative decision, it's bad business. For many fans, this controversy isn't just about Henry Cavill or even the custodians. It's about the bigger picture, a beloved franchise being altered in ways that feel disingenuous and unnecessary, all to appeal to an audience that likely doesn't even engage with the source material. And once again, the people who lose out the most are the loyal fans who have supported Warhammer for years.
Geekiest thing would have to be my Warhammer stuff.
We're talking
Hands
Games
down.
Workshop, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah. It's that took me a while to kind of confess to openly and publicly.
Dare I say it, I know exactly what you mean. A collection of white undercoat spray paint that just lurks in the back of the cupboard.
Yeah. I was like, what's this? For graffiti?
Underarm deodorant. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I paint Cal. Certainly not Warhammer. No. No, that's a great answer. It's hard to top it, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, I love it, and I've that's the stuff I've done in as far as hobby stuff, the stuff which my escapism is concerned. All the reading I do outside of work is normally based around that or fantasy authors. So yeah, and I've been involved in the Warhammer world for
40,000 years.
40,000 years. Oh, well, longer, depending how you look at it. But since I was probably 10.
Nice.
Yeah, so a long time.
Yeah, the smell of paint in the kitchen. Tell me though.
Literally brings back sense memories.
Totally agree with you.
One other thing, I know it's early days, but Warhammer, I mean, there's nothing more close to your heart than this. I know this.
That is true.
There are a few other things.
Well, yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Cal.
Professionally speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a heart outside of work.
He does. But it must be so exciting to be able to actually like dive into this world and be the one of the ones that is just steering the ship and figuring out what the world you want to create is on film and TV. What's this experience been like so far?
It is the greatest privilege of my professional career to have this opportunity. I can't say too much again. It's early days still, but to have this opportunity to bring it to the screen and be at the tiller so it can be faithful is key to me. And this is the stuff I've been dealing with since I was a kid. This is sort of is the stuff I spend my free time daydreaming about as an adult as well, and I get to bring it into life. And there is no greater reason than I joined the industry than doing something like this, and I'm very happy to be here.
Have you tried to get Matthew into Warhammer or gaming at all?
No, not
Gaming,
yet.
I love gaming. Wouldn't be gaming at all. But we've spoken.
Yeah.
I'd work with Henry in lots of different ways.
Yeah, watch this.
The controversy over the introduction of female Adeptus Custodes has sent shockwaves through the Warhammer fanbase, and it's not hard to see why. For decades, Warhammer has been more than a game. It's a richly woven universe with lore so meticulously crafted that fans have come to cherish its consistency. The sudden inclusion of female custodians feels like a jarring disruption to the foundation that's kept the franchise alive for over 40 years. For the uninitiated, the Adeptus Custodes have always been established as an elite, genetically engineered male faction, directly tied to the Emperor's own DNA. This isn't just a random detail, it's a core aspect of the lore that has remained untouched for decades. So, when Amazon and Games Workshop decided to retcon this history by introducing female custodians, many fans saw it as unnecessary pandering. Social media exploded with petitions, boycotts, and outrage. One user on a popular Warhammer forum vented, "It's insane that these companies would rather tank millions of dollars instead of just admitting they were wrong and reversing the decision." Another fan pointed out the lore-breaking inconsistency, saying, "They might have gotten away with this nonsense if they just introduced female custodians as something new. But no, they had to gaslight us and claim there were always female custodians, as if we don't know the lore better than they do." This backlash has drawn comparisons to Amazon's other projects, like Rings of Power and the Wheel of Time, where similar lore-breaking changes led to widespread criticism and fractured fan bases. In both cases, fans accused Amazon of prioritizing inclusivity over staying true to the original material. The result? A decline in interest and a lot of bad press. Now, Warhammer fans are voicing their fears that their beloved franchise is headed down the same path. With its loyal fan base feeling alienated, many are worried that Warhammer will become just another casualty of Hollywood's ongoing struggle to balance modern agendas with authentic storytelling.
So only really be one, because once I'm one, then I can't be others. If it were to ever happen, if there were to be anything live action, I would have to be very aware of that. It is obviously character rich, especially the 40k universe. I suppose I could play a different character from the Warhammer Fantasy universe versus the 40k universe, but again, I'm now just dreaming. So I'd have to speak to the guys at Games Workshop and see what happens.
5 years, you'd make a very good Greg Horizon, is what I think.
That would be exciting, yes, but then I burn Primarchs and the Captain General, so I don't really know.
As the stewards of Warhammer lore, Games Workshop now finds itself caught in the crossfire. Allegations suggest the company caved under pressure from Amazon, agreeing to introduce female custodians as a compromise after rejecting Amazon's initial demand for female Space Marines. For many fans, this feels like a betrayal not just from Amazon, but from Games Workshop itself. One fan captured the mood perfectly. They'll call it sexism and refuse to explain the canon or history. We've seen this play out before. They'll double down before admitting they were wrong. For the Warhammer community, the frustration isn't simply about adding female characters, it's about how these changes are implemented. The decision feels disingenuous, as though it was made to appeal to non-players rather than respecting the loyal fan base that has upheld the franchise for decades. The backlash has escalated to action. Players are canceling subscriptions and boycotting Games Workshop products en masse. The general sentiment? This entire debacle could have been avoided if Games Workshop had stood firm against Amazon's demands or introduced female custodians in a way that aligned with the established lore. At its core, this controversy isn't about rejecting change. It's about maintaining trust. Fans aren't resistant to new ideas, but they demand that changes respect the lore that defines the franchise. For Warhammer enthusiasts, this feels like yet another beloved intellectual property being sacrificed on the altar of modern corporate agendas. Fans are left questioning whether Games Workshop and Amazon truly understand, or even care, about the essence of the Warhammer universe. Henry Cavill's potential exit from the Warhammer adaptation would be a devastating blow to the project's viability. Cavill isn't just another actor. He embodies what fans hoped this series would stand for: respect for the lore and genuine passion for the franchise. His involvement gave the adaptation credibility, setting high expectations for an authentic take on the Warhammer universe. Without Cavill, the series risks losing its most significant advocate and alienating the very audience it was designed to captivate. His departure wouldn't just hurt the show. It would strip it of its heart and vision, leaving it adrift and vulnerable to the same pitfalls that have plagued other mismanaged adaptations. This controversy highlights a recurring problem in modern entertainment: the clash between corporate agendas and the preservation of beloved franchises. Time and again, studios prioritize superficial changes to appeal to broader demographics, while disregarding the foundational elements that made the franchises successful in the first place. These decisions, often seen as pandering, fail to resonate with either the original fan base or the new audiences they're hoping to attract. The pattern is painfully evident. Whether it's Rings of Power or the Wheel of Time, studios have repeatedly ignored fan concerns, only to face widespread backlash and lackluster results. By sidelining core audiences and treating established lore as expendable, they alienate their most loyal supporters and doom projects to commercial and critical failure. The Warhammer controversy serves as yet another cautionary tale. Disregarding the fans who built the franchise's success comes at a steep price. For Henry Cavill, Warhammer isn't just another job, it's a passion project. His dedication to staying true to the lore and preserving the universe's integrity is why fans trusted him to lead this ambitious adaptation. If Cavill walks away, it sends a clear message. He won't stand by while beloved stories are reshaped for headlines and fleeting applause. Cavill's involvement wasn't just about star power, it was a promise to respect the fan base and the legacy of Warhammer. Without him, the series risks losing its guiding force and further alienating the community it seeks to engage. So, what do you think? Is Amazon's vision for Warhammer a bold step forward, or yet another example of corporate meddling ruining what fans love? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on this story, don't forget to like the video, share it with fellow fans, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell to never miss an update on the Warhammer adaptation, Henry Cavill, and other pop culture controversies. Let's keep the conversation going.